Hello and welcome to the I don't know what episode this is, guys. The F's episode of
the F episode.
I tried to like FTH, but like that doesn't work as a word. Of ZED Talks. So this week we're going to be talking about Fiddlesticks, Fiora, and Fizz. Joining me this week, as always, is Colt and Blue Sweat.
Yo, what's up?
And Nick the King Cooper.
Hello.
Cool. We've got F characters. Only 3 this week, boys. Shouldn't be too bad.
Poggers.
Do you guys want to start with Fiddle? It's pretty freshly reworked.
No, I don't want to start with Fiddle.
Let's fuck alphabetical order. Let's do another. So Fiddlesticks, they just reworked him, so a lot of his issues have been addressed. But in the current state of his kit, what would you guys do to change him?
I think the only part that I don't like about his kit now is the E ability.
The wreath, wreath. Fuck.
The
I don't even
reap.
know reap. Thank you. I didn't know what word I was going for, but it was in there somewhere.
Yeah, you found it, bud. Don't worry.
You found it.
Yeah, I don't care for that one very much, actually.
Kinda boring.
I think it is a little boring. I would like to see it if maybe it was a lower cooldown and like put the damage even further down, so it's just like you just literally are using this for slow silence, like because that's already what it's there for. Is it's literally just for the CC. The damage is pretty negligible aside from when it procs electrocute. But aside from that, I mean, the fact that you can now T-pose as your scarecrows and just sit and you still get your fear is awesome. That's what I would have definitely added. I think that there's not really anything you have to add to make him good because he's already super strong. I think it would be interesting if they made maybe his ultimate give like nearsighted, or maybe there's a chance when you go up to one of his scarecrows that it affects you in some way other than it just like blowing an ability and faking you out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's really any changes that need to be made.
So, like, no matter what, like, his passive's sick now, his alt's sick. His drain is better. I still think it's, like, a little bit weird. And then, yeah, Reap's, like, the only, like, kind of boring, I guess, ability. But you also can't, like, overload him, right?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he needs he definitely needs a bad ability, right? That's just how
it
should work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just, like, they have a term for it. It's power. I think it's power budget. I want to say it's power budget. Like, for example, remember Aoshin, the character that eventually got reworked into Aurelian Soul, the big dragon? His the main ability in his kit was, Aurelian Soul's fly ability, where, like, if you hit the button, then you fly for, like, a while in, like, a certain direction. He could just fly forever. He could always go over terrain.
Oh.
Yeah, he could, like, just terrain didn't exist for him, right? And it's like, that's a non-combat ability that takes up so much of that character's fucking power budget that it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing to balance, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And his other abilities are so impactful, especially since we're seeing like W Max Spirit Visage Fiddle, which
that shouldn't work.
Yeah, heals for a lot after that.
Yeah, I could see some pushing of his AP ratios to and like lowering of base damage so that his current build as a jungler does the same damage, but if you build him as a tank, he does no damage. And if you really pop off, you can maybe carry a little harder. But again, any changes that I would propose, I think, are very small and not really necessary.
Yeah,
I mean that just goes to show that like they did a good job on rework, right? Like if like they rework a character,
did a
then
really good job.
he's like sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they reworked him. They made a couple fine tunes afterwards, and then he's been sitting pretty well since.
Yeah, no, I think he's in a pretty good spot. Since they've tweaked him a little bit.
Oh, the only other thing that I would say is just annoying as fuck, and I think this is annoying as fuck anyway, is that Rift Herald takes up your trinket spot. which is already annoying on any character that gets Rift Herald and can no longer use their trinket because of it. But I think is even more impactful on Fiddle, because I think using his passive well is a way to actually like do skill expression with the character and succeed in the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's very similar to
Like,
Lee Sin.
waste Herald. Yeah, you're just like, oh, you're fucked now. You gotta just waste your Herald, or otherwise you take away a big chunk of your character.
Yeah, is there a
All
way
right,
to
so-
like fix that, like that mechanic? I guess though, because it exists. For...
I mean, make it a consumable item. Put it in your inventory.
Yeah.
If you have a full inventory, then you can't pick up the Rift Herald. It's a risk-reward thing.
I don't know if that feels even worse or not, though.
I actually think it's better. Like, when do you have when? So Herald, the
When
latest
you have
Herald.
6 items.
When do you have 6 items pre 20 minutes?
I mean, I guess like components,
And, like,
probably doesn't occur for junglers very often.
And I think that it would then make that point of like, well, you know, you can burn this Rift Herald if you want to buy a control ward, or like, you know, if you are gonna buy all of the small components just for little minuscule bits of strength, like, hey, you might not be able to pick up the Herald then. Like, that's a choice you make.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, having 6 item slots that early in the game is just super uncommon, unless you buy like 6 long swords.
No,
I
yeah,
think-
that's accurate.
I think it would work better that way. Like, it just like maybe like they. I don't know. Is there a world in which they don't want characters with trinket stuff to like? I guess like so like look at Lee Sin. When they designed Herald to be a trinket item, did they do it because they want Lee Sin to not have wards? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, so
No.
it's probably needed then. Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, fixed.
I mean,
Fixed character.
that is like an interesting conversation though. That I like. Obviously, they went through like some design philosophy to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Fiddle.
That was also when Klepto existed, though.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that was the reason then.
Klepto could be a good reason for that though.
Mm-hmm.
How do we fix Fiora? The sword lady?
What's problematic about her? Her Q,
Her
I
stupid
think.
bullshit riposte?
I think her Q is fine. I think her ult's fine. I think her riposting does a lot of work, and her E is pretty boring.
So
Yeah.
I would love to see, I guess, more of a glass cannon Fiora. I think her true damage scaling should be more heavily influenced by like bonus attack damage, rather than, I guess, a higher base level, right? I do agree that W is problematic, but I think it's problematic in a good way, I guess. Where a lot of Fiora's matchups come down to, can Fiora like the mind game between the ability you want to riposte and the riposte itself, which I think is a good addition to the game.
I think that it's a good idea for like the counterplay, but my issue with it is that so you aim it for the damage only, but you're immune from CC and other damage from all directions. That to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's fair.
That you don't have to actually address the threat, and that you could literally be getting like ganked by 4 directions and just press W and dodge everything. That's so stupid to me. I think that it lasts too long, personally. I think, again, like, yes, the idea of I'm gonna not only block your spell but stun you because of it, sure, that's super cool. But the fact that she gets to do it and it's like, what is it, a second, a full second?
I think it's full second.
And like the fact that she's also like not even taking damage from like auto attacks or other things, like, make it I cast this, and if you hit me with an ability, it cancels the ability and it hits you back, or like if you use a CC ability, it blocks that. But the fact that it's just like, I don't take damage for 2 seconds from all directions, and then I stun you, and also it does damage, like, it's way overloaded for me. Oh,
So-
and it also has a slow.
So the attack speed slow is really dumb. I think a regular slow is fine on it.
I mean, attack
What
slows
if-
in general are dumb, right? There's like 3 in the game left for a reason.
Absolutely. So what if you weren't immune to auto attacks? It just worked for spells.
Yeah, that's what I would want to see. It probably is that, take it down. I'm looking at it. I'm the wiki. It's 0.75, so I'd probably bring it down to half a second. I would probably have it be that it blocks all abilities for that half second. I guess is fine. I find it kind of odd that. Well, I guess Pantheon now has that he blocks everything from a direction for a time, but previously, like, any spell shield in the game is just 1, so you have to time it perfectly. But I guess I'm fine with it blocking multiple. But then the idea that, again, she's immune from all directions is one of my biggest issues. As well as I think that it's got the issue that a lot of things in League of Legends have, where 2 applications of a spell exist. And she could block either one. So, for example, like, my biggest irritation playing against Fiora is as Urgot. And she can block the, the first application of him putting the harpoon in you. And then if you were to press W and I tried to pull you in, it would stun me and not do you. Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies like that in the game. Of if it's like, do I need to block the first or second application? But I think that cleaning that up in a potential Fiora fix would be really nice.
That's fair. I I have this issue with spell shield and characters like Syndra ult.
Yep.
A lot of the time, you should only be able to do the first application, and anything after that you shouldn't be able to. But that's probably a hot take, I suppose.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's irritating, but like Zillion Bombs is another example of like, do I have to spell shield the bomb application or the damage? Like, do you know?
I think you can do both.
On Zillion, you can do both, but it's not for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that you can't block the application. There are some that you can't block the damage.
Yeah,
and it's just dumb.
No, you're right. I guess I kind of think that would be maybe a little too situational and make her pretty dog shit team fighting even worse.
I mean, I think she's meant to be a duelist, though. Like, she's not meant to be good in team fights, and I don't want her to be good in team fights. Like, she's an obscene split pusher that wins literally any 1v1. That's her role.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think League is that game, though. Like, I don't think League is the game where a character is relegated to one playstyle and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and I don't know. I don't think that making her riposte actually skillful and that you have to aim it in the direction of where the damage is coming from, I don't think that's a problem.
I just think it becomes a very weak ability then.
Okay.
So at the very least, it has to be more than just the tiny little range that it currently is. It would have to be like 180 degrees in front of her.
I maybe not 180 degrees, but like I was thinking more of like Camille Cone, where it's like I'm choosing like in general a direction that things are coming from, but it's like, hey, if I completely fuck this up, it shouldn't still give me tons of value.
That's fair.
Or like I should be able to, like, I see Fiora is beginning to propose, like I can flash behind her and do something about it. Whereas now it just doesn't matter.
Okay. I mean, as long as it's not the tiny little range, like.
Yeah.
It
No,
definitely.
I'm not saying like only something that would have been like hit by the W damage would get blocked.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I'm saying it's more like Pantheon's block where it's like from a direction. But again, then I could flash behind it or play around it in some way.
I think it just becomes hard then to know like where she riposts from and where she doesn't, I guess.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird, but
yeah.
What do you guys think? So I have one nerf for.
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit, Aiden.
Sorry, I didn't click my push talk all the way in. So I have one nerf, and I'm not sure how I feel about it because I don't think she needs this nerf, but I feel like it would make her feel better to play against. I don't think she should be able to proc her alt/passive with her riposte or with Tiamat.
I don't think she can with Tiamat.
She can.
But
it's part of the combo, like instantly proc it in 1 second.
So I mean, but how does that work? Because it doesn't proc from just dealing damage there, right? It procs from an auto attack and also riposte?
I think it counts as an auto attack. I'm almost certain it uses Tiamat, but I could be wrong. But I just know that there's a combo where you can instantly proc all 4 sides. I'm not saying like this happens. You know what I mean? People don't
Holy
actually,
shit.
But I'm pretty sure the way you do it is like you auto cancel your auto mid with your Q. Tiamat flash the Tiamat on 2 different sides and W. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so I mean, if that's the case, like that is obviously something that should be changed. Definitely shouldn't. I'm fine with it not procking from riposte as well. I think that's a little weird. Definitely shouldn't proc from Tiamat. That just seems busted, I guess.
Maybe it isn't. I'm like checking right now in the video, but either way, I hate the fact that it procs off of her riposte. I really do.
Yeah.
I really don't think you should be using your like repel ability to do like to attack. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Use your defensive ability offensively.
Apparently, you don't need Tiamat to do it. By the way, apparently Tiamat doesn't.
How would you guys feel? I hate to keep going back to her post, but I think this is her most problematic ability because I think her Q and her ulti and her passive are all actually really well designed.
Yeah.
What if it was a disarm instead of a stun? I feel like that works so much better for the idea of like a fencing duelist and like a riposte of just like literally like I am knocking the sword out of your hand. And I know disarm is like something they've kind of moved away from, but
I think disarm is worse than an attack speed slow, I guess.
yeah, it's bad, but I feel like it would fit thematically so well.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Do you want to move on to her E? Or do you have more?
Well, I was thinking like, okay, so disarm if you hit her with an auto attack, stun if you hit her with a CC spell.
CC ability. Okay,
I don't know, so it's reactive to the thing that you're doing.
that's fair. I could see that.
So I kind of do want to like, okay, so obviously riposte is controversial, to say the very least.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of not allowing her to proc everything instantly, but I don't know how to do that except for a Mordekaiser-esque sort of ability, right? Where you're trapped in an area and then there's a timer between weak points.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you take away auto attack reset on her E, and like her Q has to be able to proc it, but I think even if you just take away the auto attack reset on her E, that means at most you can get 3 if you do that perfectly with like an auto Q auto.
Aiden was saying there's a way to proc it instantly though.
It's like I watched a bunch of videos of it. It's actually pretty simple. It's literally you auto Q to another vital. When you hit that vital, you immediately walk to like the one beside you and then flash on the last one with your E.
Because again, you have 2 auto attack resets in QE.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying is if you take away a second auto attack reset, the most she can quote instantly proc is 3, and there's at least some counterplay there. The other option I think would be to change it to where you have like 6 vitals that are like different cones, and make the effect of each of them maybe a little bit better or a little bit worse, but then like if you get all of them it's even stronger.
So how would you feel about incorporating some of her Legends of Runeterra design where she
you
has...
just win the game if you kill someone with your ult.
No, I was thinking like she has 6 vitals to proc, but if she procs all of them, you die. Just period.
I don't think it's awful. I don't know if
think
it's good.
It could be problematic.
I agree.
I think the only way to make that work is that it can't do a lot of damage then on its own. It's like...
I have to like no damage.
No, I don't think it would do 0 damage. I think it would do 0 damage, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So like, if you hit all the vitals, great. If not, too bad.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that, I think.
So, I think either I had a fucking fever dream, or we talked about this on the show. But I know this goes against your idea, Nick, that you think she shouldn't be a good team fighter. But what if they like reduced her ultimate's effectiveness of just like one hitting someone? But when you proc all 4, it gives you a team like wide buff while fighting in it.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like in addition to the healing?
Yeah, or like even instead of the healing, like it gave you like attack speed, movement speed, whatever, right? Like, I feel like that would be like a really cool way of shifting her away from this really like basic split pushing game style to like give her like some like stuff in a team fight, right?
Yeah.
I think they could also honestly do some cooldown reduction if you get all the vitals and kill them, of like the cooldown is maybe halved, or probably not a full reset, but again, like, she is the Grand Duelist, I think. That's her title. Like, okay, she wins her duel, she challenges somebody else. Like, that's Fiora.
It would be fucking cool if if you killed someone with your ult, it went on like the nearest target, like in vision range.
That'd be pretty dope.
If you like kill them and they still had stacks, they just apply to the next person.
That'd be really cool, actually.
But I think that would be cool, right? Like the idea of, you know, maybe somebody comes up and ganks you top and you in the 1v2 and like you kill the first one, like, let's go. Like, you challenge the duelist, you're gonna get bopped.
Yeah. I mean, okay. You know what ability fits perfectly for Fiora? Fucking old Poppy's ultimate.
Yeah.
You just pick a target. One of you has to die before, like, you deal damage to the other. Like, just a straight up duel.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like, that was a super toxic ability, but...
I mean, it was, but I guess because of the way that you could use it, right? You could use it on a support and then just one hit a carry.
I think that you could maybe make that her E, where her E is an on-hit effect where it's like, you know, you deal 10% more damage to this person, and they deal 10% more damage to you, but, like, both of you take half damage from opponents or something. Like, I think you'd probably have to make it more like you deal 20% to them and they deal, like, 15% to you. It needs to give you some kind of advantage in a 1v1, but the idea is, like, you can still single out your target in a fight. I think that could be like a debuff on her E.
So I got another cool idea.
What if for ultimate, just put her in targetable and she slashed you 5 times?
That was so fucking trash. I'm trying to figure out how much like her vital damage. So does it just like put on vitals, or does it like they're better than vitals, aren't they? Or are they actually just vital damage?
They're just vitals.
That's crazy. That's actually insane that they do that much. Anyways, my idea was, what if her ult scaled with how many vitals like are given? Like, a target can have a maximum of 4, but when you activate your ult, you don't activate it on someone, you activate it to, like, characters in your area, meaning, like, rank 1, your ult, like, will put 5 vitals in the area or whatever. Like, you identify, like, 5 vitals. But, like, late game, like, third rank of your ult, it, like, puts, like, 15 vitals. Like, so in a team fight, if everyone's there, you just, like, hit your ult, and it puts, like, 15 vitals across, like, all different characters, like, spread, and those are weak points on every character in the fight. For you.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be dope.
That would be like a cool way of making
it. Like, would you have to kill somebody or proc all of, like... Could it be like, if I procced 5 vitals across 5 characters, would I still get my super buff?
So I'm not sure how, like, that's the problem. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm not sure if you'd put more vitals if you proc, every single vital off a person or something. Like, I just love the idea of, like, making her not just a boring split pusher, though. And I feel like it just, you, like, scope out the fucking battlefield and you see the weak points on every single target, and you just, like, dash between everyone just doing, like, a shitload of damage, like, each slash.
Yeah. I think if they did it that way, that'd be super cool, and it would be... I think you could just have it be that if you get a kill on somebody, like, by proccing a vital, or if you've procced a vital within 1 second of them dying, like, you get that area of effect.
Yeah. It's just, like, I just want her to not be a split pusher, man. It's so fucking boring.
Yeah. Ooh, what if she can only deal damage via vitals?
True. But everyone has vitals all the time.
Including turrets.
True.
I had to kite around the turret.
Fiora's a fun character to talk about, though, because I feel like her kit's pretty okay already, but there's definitely places that they can just go wild.
Oh yeah, it's like the duelist idea is like a really cool design, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So she fixed?
The ultimate riposte would be that it just casts the ability back at them, right?
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
That'd be fucking OP, but...
I do think Colton's on something, but like it should be a disarm. I feel like a disarm makes the most sense for like a riposte.
I think it does make the most sense too, but I like the...
It's way weaker as a riposte. I mean, as
It's
a
way
disarm.
weaker, so I think you need to make a lot of other changes, but I also think that would make... Like, I personally am a fan of characters having, like, certain issues that they're super strong in, where I'm, like, fine with her being a nutty split pusher because she's weak as a team fighter or something like that. Where it's just like, okay, cool, like, they picked a top laner who's entirely reliant on auto attacks, or 90% auto attacks. Like, they pick Lucian top, and you're like, alright, cool. I just picked Fiora, so now I get to disarm you, deal with it.
I would,
as opposed to like they picked a Fiora. Okay, cool. I'll just play Singed. I'm not going to auto attack you anyway.
I guess there's a way not to nerf it though. I feel like you could easily make the like it be like a 1 second disarm instead of a 2 second like attack speed slow and cripple.
Mm-hmm.
Like just as, like not reflecting a stun, like just like using it on someone. I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's just base effect is to disarm, and it's a stun if you block a CC ability.
Yeah, I feel like that'd work fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. She's
so
cool.
I think that's a lot of potential things that you could do.
We're on to Fizz.
All right, Fizz is problematic, right?
What about Fizz stays? His ult?
I think his ult and his E. I think his E is too iconic.
Yeah, I think those are the only two abilities. Passive sucks, his Q sucks, his W sucks.
Does the E remain the same amount of time and on as short of a cooldown? Because I think that's a little problematic, is how often he can go untargetable.
I think it should be like way higher cooldown. It's 10 seconds max rank right now. Which with max CDR it's 6 seconds.
And you can stay up on the pole for like
2, yeah. I think is it 2 or is it only 1?
I think it's only 1 second, but
huh.
I guess. I don't know. I think he is like that's his only defensive ability, right? That's his only get out of jail free card.
Yeah, but every 6 second get out of jail free card is the problem.
Yeah, granted, like all right, so it shouldn't go on cooldown until you come down. I'm not sure if it works that way already, but that's how it should work.
It does. It goes on cooldown when you come down. Yeah, so it is 6. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
he has a full second of untargetability if he is staying up on it. On a 6 second cooldown means that he gets a second of invulnerability every. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's crazy.
He also basically dies instantly if he's not up there, though.
Yeah, but I guess to me my issue is that he can use it like twice in a solo tower dive.
Mm-hmm. You can use it to initiate the
like
tower dive and then
imagine
use it to
an
drop
Elise
tower
Eing in to gank you and then Eing out.
That's fair.
Okay, how do we fix his passive? His passive is so boring, man.
His passive is hot garbage.
His passive is the he doesn't have minion like block.
He's ghosted,
and he takes reduced damage from. Well, it's pretty well just reduced damage from minions, really, because it's like 4, I think, damage reduction or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
No, it's bad.
It's really
I mean,
bad.
it's trash, but a lot of his power lies within his other abilities. So having a pretty weak passive, I think, is fine.
I would like it to be something like.
I think you make his W his passive, where his auto attacks just apply like a bleed.
That's one way of doing it. I was thinking have a passive so like every ability you use, you get like movement speed or something like that, like for like a short duration that stacks.
So Sivir?
No, like that stacks. So like.
Okay.
Use like a bunch of abilities and you're like really fast and you're zipping around. So like you're still like a mobile, like little nimble like dude, but it depends on like if you like Q in then E or E in then Q or like whatever, you're just fucking fast as fuck.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that as definitely working.
I I do think the simple way of doing it, Colton, though, is just like putting his W on his passive. Like it's so simple. Like it should have been done already.
Should it apply like a sort of mark, like the current W does, where you auto attack, you apply a mark, and then an ability will like proc it. Obviously, it won't do like a shit ton of damage because that would add way too much sustained damage to his kit.
Mm-hmm.
But like something in that nature to sort of reinforce weaving in autos and Qs.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Didn't they remove the apply thing and let it time up? I think it just does.
Yeah, it just times up.
Now.
Yeah, no. But like for like a large part of his like thing, was you have to wait a second then proc it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not that way anymore. But I'd be fine if it was kind of like a Jarvan auto attack thing where it's like you can like apply a mark on them as opposed to get like percentage health damage, and then if you trigger it with an ability, it does a lot.
Did you know his W auto attack enhance is an unstoppable auto attack? Such a weird thing to put on a kit. What do you guys think about? So if we're gonna go the route of he has too much like bullshit like in like playful trickster sort of thing, what do you think about making his Q so it's a skill shot to launch himself over walls and stuff, but like these movement abilities are now longer cooldowns. So he has 2 movement abilities. His Q can go over walls, and his like E still isn't go over walls ability, but his E is a longer cooldown, his Q is a longer cooldown. So he has like longer cooldowns, but it gives him like even a little bit more mobility to play with.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm okay with it not being a point and click and then letting him go over walls with it.
I think it'd be like just a cool modernization of like what it does. Because I do like the idea of him having 2 mobility abilities. And I know we said this Q is boring, which it kind of is, but I would like him to have mobility in some other way. So like even just making it like a skill shot, like launch yourself over sort of thing is cool.
Yeah, I like
even
that.
if it wasn't like even if it couldn't go over walls, right? Like even just it being a skill shot, I think is like cooler than it being a targeted ability. It just like would be.
I think so too. Yeah,
a nice little change.
Okay, so what are we doing with W?
Do we need to change his ult at all first? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think the only thing you could do with his ult, and I don't think it's necessary, is make it where it's like they, instead of knocking you straight up, they knock you like towards Fizz with the idea of like he's putting out a lure, he would pull it in. Right?
Yeah.
Like if it knocked you towards him a little bit.
I would like that a lot. Do you guys like the damage scaling on it? I think the damage scaling is really cool.
I think so. No, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm fine with that risk reward of like if you throw a far one, it's going to do nutty damage.
Mm-hmm. I also think the size scaling is good.
It prevents the unhealthy Q onto them and ult at point blank.
Yeah, and that's still a viable strategy is like a way to CC them, but just way less damage.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah, just his W really, right? Which
so if we, I think what you could do with it is give him some kind of AoE ability and maybe pull some damage off his E so that he's actually got some other form of wave clear besides his primary escape tool.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you'd really do that.
Would you want to go as far as giving him a ranged ability, or do you think it would be bad if he had a ranged ability? Because you could do something like he throws like a fish or throws a spear or something like that. Like,
oh, what if his Q was like he throws his spear and you like charge it up for distance, and then his W is just like dash to the spear?
that's
not
like
bad.
That's pretty cool actually.
And like if you, as you go through, it like deals additional damage, and maybe when you throw your Q through something, it applies his like passive mark that we were talking about, and so like the W would trigger it on the whole wave.
That's cool actually.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, so he like charges up his urchin and he tosses it, and then his trident, and then his W he just like dashes to his trident.
Yeah, that's like
He's
really
fixed.
cool. No,
He's
like
just
honestly
dope.
though, like he gives like I think you have to play a lot around with cooldowns, like especially if we give him like queuing through walls or even just queuing his skill shot and his E like obviously doing what it currently does. I think we have to like play around with cooldowns, making it so he can't just like do all three of those on a loop, so he's never touchable, sort of thing, like just infinite mobility. But I feel like if you play around with the cooldowns enough, like it would be like super sick. I feel like he should be like super mobile, but like not untargetable and like impossible to catch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's a difference between mobility and again like a 1 second invulnerability every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That can potentially get you over 2 walls.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that it can jump two walls. I love you never really see it happen, but like jumping over a wall then jumping back, like so sick.
Yeah. Oh my god. They flash over the wall. You should pop back.
That's pretty dope.
Cool. I think Fizz is really cool. I feel like he's a character who a lot of people hate, but I think it's just because he is frustrating to play against currently.
I mean, he is. He's pretty much the ultra feast or famine champion, right? There's not many champions who do better when they're ahead or worse when they're behind, I feel like.
I also feel like he's a very good pub stomping character that like bad people can pick up as well. Like I feel like almost every single time I see a Fizz in not like Diamond, they like are doing really well, but they have like 12 farm. And it's because they don't focus on farming. They don't know how to play the game. They're just a gimmick, right? They just like kill people and then they win games.
So I'm thinking back to the idea of like him applying a mark, and I think that you could make all of his abilities like trigger it, right? Where like you auto attack a mark, it does damage. Maybe if you E somebody who's marked, it does more of a slow, and then like the ultimate maybe is one size bigger on a marked target. I don't know. Like I think there are a lot of ways you could go with it, but you could definitely make him like a mark based character. Then again, I don't know if that's really healthy for the game.
I don't know.
I do think it's cool though. I feel like he has a lot of ways that they could take him if they do decide to rework him in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot of room for growth.
Awesome.
All
I
right.
think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next month.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.